You're listening to the Chris the Freelancer podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Chris the Freelancer podcast. This is the podcast all about location independence, time freedom, and living life on your terms. Each week we interview a new guest on the show, and today I'm sitting down with Graeme Lawson, the accidental digital nomad that built his own business and now works location independently as a freelance digital marketer and business coach. In today's episode, we talk about how Graeme got started in freelancing and how he was able to transition out of living in cold, rainy Scotland to living the good life in Chiang Mai and Copenhagen. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy episode 6 with Graeme Lawson.
For show notes and more, visit christhefreelancer.com.
All right, I'm here with Graeme Lawson. He's an internet marketer and business coach. We met through mutual friends. And to be honest, that's about as much as I know about sort of what you do professionally. So I guess the audience will be learning more about you as I, learn more about you as well. So first of all, how you doing?
Not too bad, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, you got a big smile on your face, which is great to see.
Yeah, I'm quite excited. I've been following your stuff for a while now, so it's interesting to actually be a guest on your show.
Yeah, we actually had Sunir last week on the podcast, and it was a similar thing. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, plenty of other people with great stories, I'm not the only one. I'm just the one that decided to make heaps of content around it,
Broadcast it the most, yeah.
Yeah, so it's really good to have other people's, stories on here, because a lot of people aren't going to relate specifically to my story, but there might be somebody else that they can relate to, specifically which fields they want to get into as well. So what I was hoping we'd do is go back to the start and sort of map how your career's sort of progressed and how you've gotten into, I guess, freelancing, marketing, and now coming out here and working remotely. So where did it all begin, I guess, with the digital marketing stuff?
Well, it actually started at college. I went to college because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't want to get a normal job yet. So I used to build computers in my spare time, so I knew that if I went to college to do computer stuff, it would probably be quite easy, and then I could get a job after that. But I ended up just going to college, deciding that I actually really liked web design, but then passed college and then didn't do anything with it. Just went and got normal jobs, and I threatened for about 6 years to start my own business and never did anything about it.
So what's a normal job to you?
I had so many jobs. I worked in factories. I worked in supermarkets. I sold shoes. And then latterly I was a salesman. But I hated my job so much. Yeah. And I had some savings behind me because I was quite a good salesman. Yeah. And I decided I can't do this anymore. I had the choice. I could either use my savings as a deposit on a house or a flat and then carry on doing the job I hated to fund that house. So the other option was just do what I always said I was going to do and actually start my business. So I used my savings as kind of like a way to pay myself until I started making money.
Okay, so what was holding you back during that time? I mean, you finished the degree, did you?
I didn't finish my degree. I went to college, did college, and then the natural progression is to go and do university.
Oh, so okay, it's a different thing.
Yeah, I did college for 2 years, and then I went to university, but then dropped out of university and then went and done normal jobs, and then started the business. But that was handed my notice in March 2011. Okay. So
this was for the sales job?
I quit the sales job. I had about 6 months worth of savings, I guess, that I could survive on if I was quite frugal. Okay. And just went for it. And then hopefully, as the money went down, I would start getting sales and it would go back up, and then it would hopefully level out or whatever. But as I discovered, for the first couple of years, I never got any funding. I never tried to exploit any of the useful things that we have in Scotland anyway, that help you when you first start your business. So I wished I'd done that a bit more, but ultimately, like, for the first couple of years, it was beans on toast and noodles to survive until I started making decent money.
Okay, and did you have to be in Scotland to run that business? Like, I'm just thinking maybe if you knew about did you know about people coming over to Chiang Mai and kind of bootstrapping businesses at that point?
Certainly not as early as that. Yeah. No, basically, I mean, you see all the ads. Like the adverts that, like, it's, oh, you can do this as well, and then you see the guy on the beach, and it's like, so
the quintessential digital nomad stock photo.
But you don't believe, I guess you don't believe that maybe you can do that, or it's a scam or whatever. But when I first started, I was basically just building websites for businesses. Yeah. But what I was finding was I was building a website for businesses, but these businesses were saying, yeah, I've got a website, but it's not making me any money. So there's no point. Like, I liken it to spending all your marketing budget on a really, really fancy video for your business, and then not having any budget left for the airtime to put it on the television. Yeah. So basically, that got me into SEO and social media and all these other ways of marketing. So for the best part of my business, I've been doing more the whole how to actually make my customers money. And now latterly, for the last few months, my kind of, I don't really like the terms niche or secret sauce. It's not as if I've like reinvented the wheel, but the way I do it now is I get on a call with my clients every single week, and that call might be for 10 minutes, it might be for an hour. It just depends on what we're talking about that week, and I give them tasks to do for that week that they need to do for their business. It's most commonly digital marketing stuff, sometimes it's not, and myself tasks on what I need to do for them that week. And then, so we've got a list of what I need to do, a list of what they need to do, and things happen so much faster because of the accountability. It happens so much faster, and they get results so much quicker.
Wow.
So that's kind of like where I am now.
Yeah. I guess I guess that's the coach part of your title, is like you coach them along, and a good coach keeps you like accountable as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So all my clients are in Glasgow, and I said to them, I'm moving to Thailand. I seen all the kind of digital nomad movement, and I decided to move to Thailand. So I said to them, I'm moving to Thailand. Would you be okay to swap face-to-face meetings with, FaceTime or Skype or whatever? And they all said, yeah, no problem.
That easy. Yeah. It really was like. Okay, is that like a normal culture in Scotland, or were you quite surprised that they were happy with it? I guess you were freelancing.
It's more to do with my relationship with my clients. Okay. I only work with people that I want to work with. That's obviously a luxury of having been doing this for 5 years now. Yeah. I only work with people that I want to work with, and probably I would say people that are like me. And I think they recognise that, and they recognise the value I give. So it doesn't really matter if I can't see them face to face, because if they can, as long as they can still get on a call with me, speak to me, and it's not all business. You kind of shoot the shit as well. But it's.
Yeah, I'd say it's easier for a freelancer or a business to sort of move their shop overseas and be remote than like in a job. Like if you were working full time for even one of these businesses, like do you think the process would have been similar? Or because I think in Australia, that I think most of the time the expectation is that if you employ somebody, you're not expecting them to work remotely. I mean, there's a culture that's not really ready for that yet, even though it's totally like doable depending on what job you're doing. Do you think it would have been the same situation if you were working full-time for one business?
No, not really. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've actually met some people here who have been allowed, I guess, if you want to use that word, to come out and have a break and do something different over here. But ultimately, no, it's not. I wouldn't say that's the normal Scottish, British culture. But I guess the more forward-thinking businesses probably should think along those lines, because I guess a happy employee is going to work harder for you. But ultimately, yeah, it's the freelance side of it. It's the fact that I choose. I don't have to ask. I only have to ask myself if I want to go, and then my clients, as long as it's okay.
Well, yeah, that's part of the reason why I promote freelancing, is because I think it's a good sort of thing to get into for people that want to have that freedom, because you're in control of your business. So you can say to your clients, like, I'm doing the same work for you, but I'm just going to do it elsewhere. And they don't really control you. I guess they can stop hiring you, but like you said, if you're delivering value for them and you're not an employee, they should be pretty, depending on cultures and all that, but they should be okay. There should be an opportunity there.
Ultimately, it depends the way you want to go, but freelancing is a great way to start, because the thought process is very simple. It's like, I have this skill, so then I can sell this skill to businesses, people, whatever. And then before you get into the likes of course creation or whatever, you're actually learning as you go as a freelancer what your customers want and what they need. So you learn the skill first, and then you let your experience with the customers then decide what course you would potentially create for them, or what to do better for them in the future.
Yeah, so one thing that you said was earlier was like you make the websites for them, but then the websites weren't making money, and then you went into SEO and all that stuff. So at that time, did you know anything about SEO? Were you researching it on the side, or you were like, okay, my clients need this, I'm just going to deliver it and then learn how to do it? And then
there was a bit of retraining, I guess, because I did it all at college, but we're talking 6 years, and then with the introduction of WordPress, which all my websites are built on nowadays. So I had to kind of retrain to learn WordPress, but to start from having learned HTML, it's kind of like going backwards to learn WordPress. Or it's easier, I guess, because WordPress takes a lot of the weight out of it for you. Yeah. So I had to retrain to do a lot of those things, but I already knew about SEO before I started. But particularly around the kind of 2011, 2012 time, I mean, SEO was I wouldn't say it was new, but it was certainly, businesses were more interested in trying it.
Yeah.
And I was quite lucky early on that I really, really wanted to work with this flooring company that were quite local to me, but they were also one of the biggest flooring companies in Glasgow. And basically, I seen the owner driving past me in his Porsche, and I turned the car around at the roundabout, and I chased after him. And when he stopped the car, I tapped his window and I said, "Look, I'd really be interested in doing SEO for you, like for free for a month, to see if you like it." And so he said yes, because it was free. And so long story short, within 3 months, I got them on their online sales from £30,000 a month. They were making £80,000 a month.
Oh wow!
And it was like, so that was like a 50 jump within 3 months. So SEO was a lot easier before, but that kind of got the momentum and the reputation to get better, bigger clients.
So is that something you would recommend starting out, is to find somebody to work for free for in order to build case studies, portfolios and such?
Absolutely. That was the biggest mistake I think I made when I first started. Basically, I'm going to design a course. Again, I've been threatening for a year to actually film it and do it, but I want to design a course and teach everyone everything that I do, so that you can go out there, do it yourself, and live like we do. But ultimately part of that course, when I was writing about the framework of the course, that was one of the parts, was how to get started. And when you don't have a reputation, people either don't want to use you, or you'll get lousy clients because they're just competing on price.
Yeah.
So the best way to do it is to go out and do. But plus, if you've only just learned how to do it, then you need to do a few to get. The only way to do it, you can't read to get better at it, or watch to get better. You have to do it to get better at it. So do it, and do it for loads of free people for a while, and just take the hit on the fact that you're doing work for free, but it'll pay off because you've got a portfolio, you've got testimonials, and then when you walk into a meeting after that for an actual job that you want to charge for, you've got the reputation behind you and the comfort knowing that you can sell.
All right. Well, I've got two questions that have come up from what you said. Number one, do you think it's really important who you choose to do the free work for at the start? Because you went, knocked on that guy with the expensive car, right? With Porsche, was it? Yeah. And I guess I saw this YouTube video about the successful trainer in New York City, and he talked about how he had this standard that he was only going to work with the top clients, and he had his rate, and it was really hard for him in the beginning because he didn't have because he was just starting out, yet he had such a high rate, and he could have done work for all these smaller clients. But then he got one of those bigger clients, and then built on top of that, and because of the strength of the network of those top clients, he was able to find other top clients. And I guess tying that in with doing free work at the beginning, do you think it's important to choose, I'm assuming that one really good client is worth a lot more than a bunch of terrible ones, right?
Yeah, that's actually a really good analogy. Not only if you want high clients, then do free work for high-end clients, but also do one for a trades guy, because you'll get a lot of trades guys that need your plumbers, electricians, all these kind of guys that will need this sort of service. So if you at least done one for one other one, the website looks decent, and you've potentially gotten some clients from it, then absolutely do that. But the other one is influencers. So if you know someone, let's say someone who runs a networking event, do a website for them, because they know a bunch of business people and they will sing your praises, and your name or your business name will be at the footer of their website that a lot of people that are other business owners are going on. So yeah, I would try and get a kind of eclectic mix of business owners.
Yeah, I remember that as a specific tactic on Timothy Mark's course. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of Timothy Mark.
I've not seen his course though.
Oh, okay. He has this course called Secret Society Mastermind, which he only launches one day every year.
Right.
Really interesting way to do marketing.
Talk about creating scarcity.
Yeah. So it's high scarcity, but obviously maybe there's affiliate marketing, but I mean, you can't do affiliate marketing 364 days of the year, so probably not. So it's really interesting how he sells email info products. But yeah, one of these giveaway videos, he talked about his one way to grow a service business is just contact the top people and offer them the service for free. And I think it was Copy Blogger that he did. He emailed the top person at Copy Blogger and offered to do, I think, I don't know, something digital marketing related, I think it was an explainer video or something. And yeah, and then after that influencer sort of would mention that service to people, and then from there it was easy marketing. So yeah, you can pitch one big person, and I mean it's a risk because you're doing the work for free, but it could be a really big payoff.
And it's also less of a risk to do it for free from your point of view in terms of the service that you provide. Yeah. You're not under pressure for oh man, I've charged this guy a load of money, but can I even deliver it? Well, yeah. It's a win-win situation for the for the business you've spoken to. You're doing it for free, so if it doesn't work, nothing lost. And if it does work, then they get the payoff of it working.
Yeah, definitely. With me, I'd feel really bad about charging a client and then not delivering.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of winging it. Like, I don't mind. You have to bring new services in. I've done it since I started, but you need to test it firstly on your own stuff, and then on clients that are willing to accept the test, I guess, before you start charging.
So the other question that kind of arise while we were talking about all that business stuff is, in terms of growing your business, do you think, what's the most important thing? Is it you do a great job and then you build reputation through word of mouth? Or is it, do you have a strong focus on personal brand and kind of doing a lot of, I guess, showing off online, case studies, similar things? Or is it, right now I'm in a debate with my girlfriend Denise, who she doesn't have a website, and she's like, it's all about reputation for me. I get referred from other clients, and I'm like, but you got to have that personal brand and have that website. And even I want to work more on my personal, like, professional brand website. What have you found, and what kind of you do?
Well, I do a mixture of both. I have a personal brand, like my website is Graeme-Lawson.com. It's my name. Yeah. So, my personal brand is me. People get me when the first thing when you log on to my website, you see, instead of a normal slider, it's a small video of me doing something silly, so that people see what I'm like, and I don't take myself too seriously and that sort of thing. But at the same time, I'm kind of like the shoemaker that has no shoes. I do all these funnels, these systems, these social media advertising campaigns, pay-per-click campaigns, building websites for all my clients. But all of my work comes from word of mouth. Everything comes from word of mouth. It just comes from reputation, from doing a good job. Mm-hmm. I would say that that's more important than the personal brand. But it kind of just depends on your approach. I mean, like, yours is very visual, and it's like your YouTube videos. So people need to like you to want to watch your stuff. People don't need to like me, I guess, to work with me. I'm saying I like my clients. Maybe they don't like me. I do a good job. So I don't know. There's no wrong answer for that. I guess it depends on what your model is. But I've learned. I've had the luxury of doing this for 5 years now, and like I say, it was hard to start with, but as soon as the reputation started preceding me, then life became a lot easier. Okay,
and this is how I usually do the interviews, is like a mixture of lifestyle and business, and we've just front-loaded a lot of business. I have a few more business questions, but then we're going to get into lifestyle stuff, yeah? Okay, cool. So SEO strategy, do you do it in a particular way, follow a particular system, or what's kind of the strategies that you use with that?
In terms of SEO, I don't really do much of that anymore. It's more to do with, given how good pay-per-click and social media advertising in particular, I use Facebook more than anything else. It's more predictable to do paid advertising. Obviously, I guess smaller clients don't have the luxury of to be able to pay you and to have a marketing budget over and above that. Yeah. But from an SEO point of view, certainly to start with, I would get if your website's built on WordPress, which I would always recommend, particularly if you're starting out and learning, do download the Yoast plugin, which is a plugin you can get that basically covers the whole framework on the on-site side of things, to make it a lot easier for you to do that, and then just create good content. That's the really boring but honest answer, is to create good content. Obviously the most important thing is the backlinks to your website. I don't know how deep you want me to go in on that, but the links linking to your website from authorities and other websites, that is going to improve your ranking. But ultimately, creating good content will organically make you improve organically in the search engines.
Yeah. So on that, did you do any courses or come across any systems with that? Because you did mention the backlinking stuff, which in this day and age, I think backlinking is the number one thing because you need authority, right?
Yep, very much so. But if I could say who anyone should look at, if they're thinking about doing SEO or to want to learn more about SEO, they should probably check out Alex Becker. His company's called SourceWave, and he gives a bunch of free stuff away. You could go on his website and just hours and hours of video on how to do SEO far more efficiently than you probably are doing just now.
Yeah, actually, I think I've heard that recommendation in another podcast. Really? As soon as I hear something recommended twice, then I take a good look at it. Yeah. For example, my the guy I'm working with, Max, told me about some wealth creation techniques that he learned from Dan Kennedy, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I was watching another business course that I'm enrolled in, and they were talking about Dan Kennedy wealth creation, and now I'm definitely watching those videos.
Yeah, there you go. It's like, it's not, I don't mean it in an arrogant way, but it's like, ask someone who's obviously done well in a particular field and ask them how they learned or who they were influenced by, and then it's probably a safe bet that if they're doing good at something and they're willing to recommend someone, then that person's probably a good shout to look at. So definitely Alex Becker at SourceWave.
Okay, awesome. And I guess one more question about SEO would be, how do you I guess the reality with SEO is you could do a campaign, but it might not, like, results aren't guaranteed with SEO, right? So is it a case of just upfront telling those clients, look, SEO is, we don't know if it's going to produce the desired outcome, or are you that confident with it that you're just like, this is what we can get? Or do you?
Well, I've never given a guarantee when it comes to SEO. I think just given the nature of the business, it can be a bit dangerous. But ultimately, you can predict, probably off the record, I guess, how easy it will be to rank for a particular term, depending on the difficulty of the term. But I wouldn't give any guarantees. The problem with that is it's like I said before, it's hard to measure. So if you any time that Google makes a particularly big change with its algorithm, a lot of businesses that rely solely on organic SEO, the businesses tank overnight. And it's like, they might not even necessarily have done anything wrong or what they call black hat, but it can ruin a whole business. Don't get me wrong, Facebook can change its terms of service sometimes with its advertising and totally ruin businesses that have been relying on a good Facebook ads budget against profit ratio. But the likes of a pay-per-click and a Facebook ad campaigns, it's a bit more measurable, and it's a bit easier to manipulate in an honest way, I guess.
Yeah, but there's still a way to cover your bases, right, with SEO. I mean, the I guess there's a few laws of SEO. I mean, just create good content that's relevant, and that's probably never going to get punished by the search engines.
It's not so much punished. It's just it's kind of moved. So you could suddenly be first and then down the bottom of the first page, or bumped onto the second page, and it's not like your website's had a big red X on it. It's just that whatever that algorithmic change was has moved your website, and all of a sudden you're not getting anywhere near the sales that you were before. And now that might mean that you phone your web guy in a panic and say, I'm not there anymore. So it's his job or her job to get you back there. But ultimately, you've still got that time frame where you're losing money.
Okay. So is that, I guess my question is that inevitable, or can you prevent against that?
You can't guarantee to prevent against it either. No.
Okay. So when that happens, I guess you get a call, right?
Yeah.
Graeme, we need you.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how good you are. I've had plenty a panicked client call about SEO related matters.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, yeah, I let's get on to more of the digital nomad stuff. the juicy stuff. And you mentioned earlier in the interview that you saw the stock photos of like people on the beach doing the digital nomad stuff, and you were like, oh, that's not real. When did it become real enough for you to make the decision?
I started to... Well, I came out with my buddy Craig, and we started sort of researching the best place to go. And it was actually, I would say it was only kind of like the turn of the year. And Craig mentioned, you know, like, there's this place, Chiang Mai, and it's kind of like the mecca for digital nomads and where everyone is at the moment. And obviously I'd never heard of Chiang Mai, but then as soon as you do a Chiang Mai Google search, you basically get like you or Johnny FD, and so there's a bunch of content that you can read about, and like the very helpful stuff, like the case studies on how much things cost, and how, and then you start to kind of create a picture in your head of how viable it is, and you're like, well, I'm living okay at home, but I can live even cheaper here with better weather, and learn from other people, and sit in your bedroom doing podcasts with people.
Next minute I'm here in Chiang Mai doing a podcast.
It's so I booked the flight on the Friday and left on the Monday. So
it was quite recent, right? Because I've only been making videos for 5 months.
Yeah, well, I've only been here for just over a month. So
and so I guess how you kind of got pushed into it, you were just following your mate Craig, right?
I knew I wanted to move. I just didn't know where. And once I started reading more about the nomad movement, Chiang Mai is kind of like like I say, it's the mecca for all it's the first one that everyone hears about, and it's the one that's probably written most about. So I kind of did a why not, and then just went. But I'm going down to Koh Phangan in a few weeks to see what that's like, because I want to try the beach lifestyle. So you probably will start seeing a lot of pictures from me of the, in the hammock and the laptop with the beach in the background, and you can do this too.
When I was in Koh Lanta, I just felt like so many good photo opportunities here to do like classic digital nomad. There's actually a few on my Instagram if you want. There's one like, I felt like when I looked back at it, I'm just like, I swear I've seen this in a stock photo. Like it's got like the picturesque beach and then the deck chair. I think there's a heap of like on the beach ones, which is like so ridiculous, because I know, at least for me, like you work from home a lot of the time, or you can work from...
Well, but back home, I work from home a lot of the time. Here, I'm a bit more social. I go to the coffee shops with some of the other guys. I go to the co-working spaces. It just depends. But I've never lived on a beach, and I want to at least go and see what it's like. And if I don't like it, or if it's not what I thought it may be, I'll just come back up here. It's no big deal.
Yeah, is weather a big reason why you wanted to get out of Scotland, or was it just being bored of being in the same place, or was it, you felt like you needed to expand into other areas of the world in order to expand your business? And
I wish it was as cool as something like, I need to go and find myself or something like that. But really, it really was it was just the weather. It's like, so I now live in a place where it's pretty much hot all the time. I'm adjusted to it, I would say, pretty quickly. I have a apartment with a pool, and I get a nice skin colour for a change, and the scooters are cheap, so it's easy to get around, and it's so laid back. You eat like a king here as well, and you eat better. I've lost so much weight since I've got here as well. So I mean, it's like it's without, I don't want to sound cheesy, but it's kind of like the complete package for people that do what we do.
So what was motivating you in the beginning when you started freelancing? Because you said you had the idea for many years, right? Was it specifically sort of having the freedom and ownership of your own business initially that drew you to it? I
discovered quite early in life that time is more important than money. I've never been motivated by money. Now, that doesn't mean that I want to be all socialist and poor, but I've never really been. And money's a good benchmark for how well your business is doing, I guess.
Yeah.
But ultimately, in terms of what I can actually buy with that money, it doesn't really motivate me.
Yeah.
I'm far more interested in having more time with friends, not having an alarm clock in the morning. I've not set an alarm since I got here. I get up at 10:30 every day. I'm in the co-working space for about 12, 1 o'clock maybe, and then I work until either everything for that day is done, or maybe I have a client call. But ultimately, it's up to me, and that to me is the most important thing. I think we get institutionalized when we're in school, that you're supposed to go get a degree, go and do a 9 to 5, and I want to show more people that it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not just looking at pictures on advertisings of some guy on a beach and thinking, yeah, that's awesome, but that would never happen to me. It really could happen to you. You could train yourself in a couple of weeks to be able to have a skill that would allow you to come and do this.
Something that's a bit, I think, polarizing in the community is the fact that, like you said, it's not the money itself, it's what you can get with the money, right? And you come out here and you might have been lower middle class in Scotland, if on a certain level. I'm not saying you specifically, but you could be on lower middle class wage in Scotland. I'm sure you would come here and you would be quite wealthy, right? So it's all relative, right? And some people, the critics, I guess, would call us stingy or, taking advantage of the system for that. But I guess it's I don't know. What's your opinion on that?
It always interests me when people say taking advantage of the system.
Yeah.
Because, okay, I'm paying tax back home, but I'm taking money out of my economy and spending it with the real people that own real shops and stalls here. Like that can't be a bad thing for Thailand. That's awesome. But also, I was actually talking to this with my mum the other day, and I was saying that, back home, if you're on a certain paycheck, you'll have a Casio watch and drive a Ford Focus, and then the guy above him has maybe got a Tag watch and a BMW, and the guy above him has got a Rolex and a Ferrari. But we don't really live like that. We all have wide varying earnings, but we all do the same stuff. We wear the same stuff. We go to the same places to eat. There really isn't like a class system here among the nomads, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a strange leveler that you're not used to back home, especially coming from a big city like Glasgow.
Yeah, definitely. Even one of the higher profile kind of digital nomads in Chiang Mai is a guy called Sam Marks, and he sold his company for $100 million around about, and he definitely doesn't drive around Chiang Mai in a Ferrari and I don't know, I've actually never met him, but from what I've heard from people, he doesn't go riding around in a fancy car, wearing suits everywhere and that
doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with like a Ferrari or a Rolex. I don't mean that. I just mean that there's no, you can't tell what people make here. Like they all wear t-shirts and shorts and eat in the same places, and there's no airs or graces. That's what I like about it.
Okay, so going back again, you have you built the business because you wanted that sort of time freedom, basically, right? And I guess without knowing it, you were setting yourself up to be in a perfect position to take on this lifestyle as well, right? So you had the time freedom, or at least were in control of your time, and then now you're, I guess, location independent as well. So were there any other barriers that were standing in your way to becoming location independent, or you kind of indirectly set yourself up for it?
Indirectly is probably the best way to describe it. I guess I don't have a mortgage, don't have a wife and kids, which is often, the reason that people will give for not being able to do something like this. But if you don't have things that make it imperative to stay at home, and you can still go home whenever you want and see your people, it's not friends and family, like it's not a problem. But I guess I've indirectly, I don't believe in fate or anything like that, but yeah, I think I've kind of moved indirectly towards this sort of lifestyle. Yeah.
Awesome. So let's talk about, you mentioned Copenhagen, right? Let's talk about your future travel plans. It's not just going to end at Chiang Mai, right? You're going to run your business in a few different locations, or
that's kind of like I'm kind of rock and roll that way back home. I don't think about things too much. I just kind of do them. So that's good. In terms of the interesting thing about Chiang Mai is that a lot of the people that are here have travelled the world already in some capacity, and they say that Chiang Mai is like perfect, and you're like, well, I've started at the perfect place. I don't really know where you go from here. But yeah, I'm going to go down to Koh Phangan, see what it's like to live the beach lifestyle. You know what? Maybe I love it. Maybe I never see you again. But I don't know.
No, I'll be down there visiting you. No, we definitely want to go down there and check out some of the spaces down there. And yeah, we've heard nothing but good things about it.
Yeah, but the community up here is incredible. And I've only been here a month. And I think I've probably added about 50 people to Facebook. Like just all these people that I know that I now go out for drinks with. I go out for dinner with. I meet at the weekend. Who are all cool to talk about business stuff, but also cool to just shoot the shit with and chill out with. Yeah. So it'll be, like I say, I've only been here a month or so. And I'll actually miss quite a lot of people going away. So yeah, it's crazy.
Well, you're not going too far.
No, I'm not going too far. I'm making it sound like as if I'm moving far away again. But no, I'm moving to an island down in the south. Try it out for a month and see what it's like.
Yeah, well, I look forward to hearing your feedback on Copenhagen.
Yeah, I look forward to doing it.
Yeah. All right. Any final word of advice for the listeners, I guess specifically from your experience building a freelance business? How would you suggest people get started and grow it?
Okay, well, I haven't created my course yet, so I can't tell you to go and do that. But I would go and learn how to do whatever you want to do, and then learn how to do it, and then just read a ton on it, research a ton on it, practice a ton on it, and then just start your business and start doing it. Because I waited 6 years that I absolutely categorically did not have to wait to do. That was a complete, I wouldn't say a waste of time, because I did things that I wouldn't change anything, but ultimately I didn't need to wait those 6 years. So as cheesy as it sounds, just do it, just start. My goodness, just start. And if you've got a lot of but I have this, or but I'm responsible for this, do it in your spare time. You'll find the time to do it. Nobody is too busy to learn a new skill that they can start as their own business and gradually build into their full-time thing.
Awesome advice. All right, thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
No worries, mate.
All right, guys, thanks for listening. If you want to find out more about Graeme, as well as everything else we just talked about in today's episode, you can find all of that information and more in the show notes. Just head to christhefreelancer.com/podcast/Graeme-Lawson. That's christhefreelancer.com/GRAEME-LAWSON. As always, thanks for listening. Be sure to hit subscribe, and we hope to see you in the next episode.